Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is Speed News. I'm Shivan Chandna. Let's start. Top US and Russian diplomats are meeting in Saudi Arabia today for talks on resetting their country's strained relations and making a tentative start on trying to end the Ukraine war. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and senior Putin aide Yuri Yushakov will meet with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and West Asia envoy Steve Witkoff. Both sides have downplayed expectations of a breakthrough. The high-level meeting is the first since Trump took office and has sparked concern in Ukraine and Europe due to the US recent outreach to the Kremlin. In the backdrop of US-Russia talks in Saudi Arabia on Ukraine, European leaders held an emergency meeting in Paris. Leaders from Germany, UK, Italy, Poland, Spain, Netherlands, Denmark, NATO and European Union stressed that they must have a say in these talks. They pushed back against the idea that US and Russia can negotiate an end to the Ukraine war without their input. French President Emmanuel Macron called the meeting after a US diplomatic blitz on Ukraine threw a once solid alliance into turmoil. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer reaffirmed his country's readiness to consider sending British forces to Ukraine, but only if there's a lasting peace agreement. He also called for US backing, emphasizing that a US security guarantee is essential to deterring Russia from attacking Ukraine again. The Russian government has released US citizen globalized WION after he was detained at Moscow's Vnukovo airport on February 7th for possessing cannabis-laced marmalade in his luggage. This move comes ahead of crucial diplomatic talks between Russian and US officials in Saudi Arabia aimed at improving strained relations between Moscow and Washington. WION was arrested during a baggage check and his release is seen as a gesture of goodwill before the Saudi-based talks. For the second time in 2 weeks, hundreds of protesters rallied in Sacramento at the California state capitol against US President Trump and his plans to cut federal jobs and other policies. The protesters are particularly concerned about the potential impact of Trump's policies on California, which has over 147,000 federal employees as of March last year, according to the Congressional Research Service. The protests are part of the 50501 5051 movement, which refers to 50 protests, 50 states, one movement. Costa Rica has agreed to collaborate with the US to repatriate 200 migrants from Central Asia and India who are currently in the US without proper documentation. According to an official statement from the Costa Rican presidential office, the deportees will arrive in Costa Rica on a commercial flight from the US on Wednesday. They will be temporarily housed in a migrant center near the Panama border before being returned to their home countries. Operation is being funded by the US government and supervised by the International Organization for Migration. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has reiterated his country's stance that it will not participate in negotiations with the US under duress. In a joint press conference with Sudanese Foreign Minister, Araghchi emphasized that Iran has witnessed only military threats and coercive measures from the US despite occasional conciliatory rhetoric. Arakji said his country will engage in diplomatic efforts only when treated with respect and dignity. Chinese ambassador to Egypt, Liao Liqiang, reaffirmed China's commitment to a two-state solution to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, calling it the only realistic way to achieve peace. He made the remarks at the fourth high-level meeting of the Global Alliance for the implementation of the two-state solution. He emphasized China's concern over the Gaza situation and urged the international community to ensure the implementation of the ceasefire agreement. Saudi Arabia's partnership with Norway and European Union launched the Global Alliance for the implementation of the two-state solution on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly debate on 26th of September last year. Representatives from 35 countries and international organizations participated in Monday's meeting to discuss the role of UNRWA. Hundreds took to the streets of Tel Aviv to mark 500 days since Israeli hostages were taken captive in Gaza. Holding pictures of their loved ones, families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza urged authorities to call for phase 2 of the deal to bring all hostages back home. Demonstrators marched to Prime Minister Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem, chanting slogans and carrying banners. A Delta Airlines jet with 76 passengers and 4 crew members on board crash-landed at the Toronto airport. The plane, which flew in from Minneapolis, Minnesota in the US, flipped upside down while landing. Paramedic services reported that at least 18 people were injured, including 3 who were injured critically. They have been taken to hospital. The accident occurred at around 2:15 p.m. local time, and flights at the airport were grounded for approximately 2.5 hours. Argentine President Javier Milei facing intense backlash after promoting the Libra cryptocurrency on social media, which subsequently crashed and lost investors billions of dollars. Milei has denied any wrongdoing, claiming he didn't promote the cryptocurrency but rather spread it. Argentina's federal prosecutor's office is examining whether Milei engaged in fraud or criminal association or was in breach of his duties when he praised the Libra cryptocurrency on social media. Industry observers believe the operation was likely a rug pull scam where developers attract investors and then quickly cash out. Over 40,000 people lost more than $4 billion due to the Libra crash. Former President Cristina Kirchner labeled Milei crypto scammer, and opposition parliamentarians are seeking his impeachment. Dominican Republic President Luis Abinader has announced plans to extend the border wall with Haiti by an additional 10 to 12 kilometers, increasing the total length to 176 kilometers. The move aims to strengthen border security and regulate migration flows between the two countries. Border wall project, which began in 2021, aims to protect the Dominican Republic and from irregular immigration, violence and smuggling from Haiti. The project has already advanced 80% in its first phase. Rio de Janeiro has reached a record-breaking temperature of 44 degrees Celsius on Monday, prompting authorities to trigger the heat 4 alert for the first time and activate a plan to keep residents and tourists safe. The heat 4 alert is activated when temperatures between 40 degrees Celsius and 44 degrees Celsius are expected to persist for at least 3 days. The intense heat has been confirmed to desert-like conditions affecting daily life. Rio's residents and tourists are seeking relief at the beach and public showers, while Mayor Eduardo Paez has recommended precautions for carnival revelers. The United Nations made an urgent appeal for $6 billion in aid to war-torn Sudan, where the humanitarian crisis has reached shocking proportions. The goal is to provide critical assistance to nearly 26 million people this year, with the UN's humanitarian agency OCHA and refugee agency UNHCR joining forces to issue the appeal. The UN agencies said the civil war has displaced 12 million people, including around 3 million who have fled the country since April 2023. The conflict also led to widespread acute food insecurity, disease and sexual violence, with famine conditions confirmed in several regions. Russia has fined Alphabet's Google 3.8 million rubles, and that's around $41,530 for hosting content on YouTube that included videos instructing Russian soldiers how to surrender. Russia has for several years ordered foreign technology platforms to remove content it deems illegal, such as what it calls fake about the Ukraine war. Russia in the past has been accused of deliberately disrupting YouTube's download speeds to prevent Russians from viewing content which is critical or. Last year in December, Putin accused Google of being a tool used by the US government to score political points. In another Russia-related news, around 20 Italian websites, including that of banks and airports, have allegedly been hacked by pro-Russian hackers. Italy's cybersecurity agency has said that the cyber attacks were carried out by a pro-Russian hacking group called No Name 057. The agency claims the attack is linked to recent tensions between Rome and Moscow. Earlier this month, Italian President Sergio Mattarella compared Russia's war on Ukraine to the expansion of Nazi Germany before World War II. Mattarella's comments led to outrage in Moscow. This isn't the first time No Name 057 has launched a cyber attack on Italy. Last year in December itself, the group hacked around 10 Italian institutional websites. India's traffic woes can soon get some relief. Indian electric aircraft startup, the E-Plane company, has announced a landmark deal that could transform emergency medical services across the country. The company also revealed that it will be supplying around 788 electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft or eVTOLs. The deal, valued at over $1 billion, aims to deploy these flying ambulances in every district of India. The ambitious plan comes as India grapples with increasingly contested city streets, making timely medical care a significant challenge. The company is aiming to begin commercial operations by the second half of 2026 with an initial production target of 100 units annually. The electric aircraft will initially have a range of approximately 110 kilometers, but the company plans to extend that to 200 kilometers in the future. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with top business leaders including Alibaba's Jack Ma, Tencent's Pony Ma and DeepSeek's Liang Wenfeng to address challenges facing the private sector, stating that the challenges that they are facing the crowd's embattled private sector were surmountable. Xi Jinping urged entrepreneurs to unify behind the ruling Communist Party's economic 2025 policies. China's state broadcaster CCTV showed footage of the meeting, which took place at Beijing's Great Hall of the People. The gathering was seen as a significant shift in tone as Beijing seeks to boost the economy and real estate crisis, low consumption and high youth unemployment. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Tesla is making its first concrete move towards entering the Indian market. The company has listed 13 job openings covering both customer-facing and back-end roles. Key positions like service technicians and advisors are available in Mumbai and Delhi, while other roles including customer engagement manager and delivery operations specialist are focused on Mumbai. The hiring activity follows Tesla CEO Musk's meeting with Modi, the US signaling serious intent to establish operations in India. The dollar was steady near 2-month lows as traders weighed tariff worries and the path to US rate cuts, while the Australian dollar inched lower in volatile trading after the Reserve Bank of Australia delivered an expected rate cut. The RBA cut its cash rate by 25 basis points to 4.1% on Tuesday in its first easing since the 2020 pandemic, but was still cautious about prospects of further policy easing. Investor focus this week will be on Wednesday's release of minutes of the Federal Reserve's meeting in January to gauge how policymakers have sought to weigh the risk of a broader tariff in the wake of US President Trump.